Bengals legend, no way around it. Sam Hubbard, local kid, drafted by the Bengals. Obviously, so many great memories in his time in Cincinnati. The biggest one, the what do they call it? The rumble in the jungle.
That's right. The
Is that
fumble
name
in the
that stuck?
jungle, the rumble
fumble.
in the jungle.
Yeah, legend of the game, legend of Cincinnati. Probably a Ring of Honor guy at some point, maybe.
I think
certainly
so.
has given a lot to the city. One of the fan favorites of one of the best eras of Bengals football of all time. It's a shame that he retires, but it's definitely makes me happy since I think he was going to be a cut anyway. I would certainly rather it end this way than see him suit up somewhere else. I assume, or at least I hope, that he'll be helping the Bengals out in some way, shape, or form. I would imagine he doesn't want to leave the game of football, and he's a great guy to have in the locker room and around the team. I was definitely open to bring him back on a restructured deal to be a depth piece and a veteran leader to this team, but we don't know what the complications with the injury are, and I assume a lot of that probably led to this decision. So a great player who had a really, really good career. Obviously didn't end the way we all wanted it to. Last year wasn't the best, and obviously we spent most of the season and off-season talking about him being a potential cut, but none of that takes away from what he did in Cincinnati and the memories that we all have from Sam Hubbard. So massive thank you to Sam Hubbard for everything he's done for Cincinnati, and truly a great player that'll be remembered forever as a Bengal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 7-year career in Cincinnati. When you play defense, you give it the old adage that it's the toughest sport to play on your body, and that's truly the case here with Sam Hubbard. I think the injuries were preventing him from being a great player, which I know he wanted to be, and I think that probably factored in on this decision, probably factored in on the decision that he didn't want to be cut from his hometown team, and I'm happy for him. I mean, I'd rather go out this way, go out on top. I know it's not really on top. They missed the playoffs, but it's on top for him, I would say. A very good 7-year career. He had his first career regular season interception this year, had his first career offensive touchdown, receiving touchdown this year.
That's a decent way to go out.
That's what I say. I think it's retiring on top as without the Super Bowl championship. It's as high as you could possibly go out. And good for him. I'm happy he was drafted here. He did his job. He was very, very good. Obviously, at the end, it didn't look great, but he was fighting through, I think, 7.5 injuries this season. So good for Sam Hubbard. Hopefully he enjoys retirement. Hopefully he gets to heal up and go out. 29 years old. It's still pretty young, but you've seen it in the NFL. You saw it with Luke Kuechly. You saw it with Andrew Luck. Guys can't take the wear and tear forever. It doesn't last. So I'm happy he's going out right now with at least his sense of pride and at least a good career to fall back on.
This is why I like the every team should have that ring of honor or just something that, like, because he's not going to be recognized nationally. It's not like he's a all-time NFL great, but this is why those ring of honors are perfect. It's because how much he meant to the community, how much he meant to the organization, and he did make pivotal plays in that Super Bowl season, of course, when they made it there, and really just over his career in Cincinnati, of course. But that's why I love those ring of honors, is because without those, it's like, okay, he retires, and yeah, we'll remember Hubbard. At some point, you're right, he'll be put in that ring of honor, and you'll be able to kind of look back at his career and remember the times he was a part of. Casey, obviously, Sam Hubbard's been a talking point for the Bengals, especially over the last year with all the struggles on the defensive side, having to talk about that uncomfortable decision that the Bengals would have to make with a fan favorite. Now they don't have to make that decision with the fan favorite. He made the decision for him. 7-year career, ultimately announcing his retirement earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, I will always have fantastic memories of him. That reel made me realize how many just like fantastic, great plays he had throughout his career here. I mean, I forgot about that Dolphins one where he just like got the fumble and took it for a touchdown. He's been involved in a lot of just really crazy plays. He's been an amazing captain for this team, and I am not to do a weird thank you for your service, but thank you for your service, Sam Hubbard. We appreciate you, and you meant a lot to the city. You were there for the ups and the downs, and couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah.
So.
Mike Brown, speaking on Sam Hubbard, quote, "Sam epitomizes what you want in a player. He's a great teammate, a talented athlete, and a passionate community member. He helped us win a lot of football games, and he had a number of very memorable plays over the years. His 98-yard fumble recovery return in the wild card win over Baltimore is one of the most iconic touchdowns in team history. It has been my honor to watch him play his entire NFL career for his hometown team. We thank him for the memories he created as Cincinnati's own."
You crack open the Merriam-Webster, hometown hero. It's a picture of Sam Hubbard.
That's right.
Checked every box.
That's
Moeller,
right.
Ohio State, Bengal, checked every box.
So all the news that comes out too, like obviously he's announced his retirement, but like all the NFL reporters that are coming out, the Bengals have released Sam Hubbard, releasing Sam Hubbard. They free up $9.5 million in cap space. Obviously, I'm not really sure how that. So they released him and then he retired or whatever. It's the I didn't break up with you. You didn't break up with me. I broke up with you. Whatever it is. Either way, from a business side, $9.5 million added to the cap space allotted for the Cincinnati Bengals. We keep talking as if the offseason is over and this team has done absolutely nothing. We keep talking as if T. Higgins is not going to be a Bengal moving forward, as if they're not going to pay Jamar Chase, as if it's just a foregone conclusion that Trey Hendrickson won't be a Bengal. They have a ton of cap space, which is something you guys have been projecting for quite some time, especially, once you got to the portion of the offseason where it was going to be time to start cutting guys. And now all of a sudden, what was already a lot of cap space for the Bengals to work with, they've almost doubled it over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So this $9.5 million, you add to that available cap space for the Bengals. Although everyone's kind of dreary about what they're going to do this offseason, I just have a hard time believing that they're making all of these cuts to free up all of this cap space to do nothing with it. I would still anticipate a big, fun offseason for the Bengals. It just feels dreary. It feels negative vibes right now with Bengals fans as far as this offseason goes. Correct me if I'm wrong, I just don't see them freeing up all this cap space to do nothing with it. I expect a big offseason for Cincinnati.
You don't cut multiple guys with, over $5 million cap numbers just to sit on it.
Correct.
I know we talk about the Bengals, leaving wiggle room with the cap basically every single year come week one. They're at almost $80 million in cap space. They're going to get up to 90 plus, maybe close to 100, depending on a couple other cuts and potential restructures. There is plenty of space to get this stuff done. The cap could not be less of a constraint on the Bengals this offseason. They can get everything done. They can extend T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, sign the best guard in free agency, and add 3 linebackers and still have cap space to work with. It all comes down to the cash, which we talked about a lot, but as they continue to operate throughout the offseason, I've said time and time again, going back to about week 5 of the regular season, that the first thing we're going to know about how this offseason goes for the Bengals is how they handle these cuts. Whether they cut Alex Kappa, whether they cut Sheldon Rankins, whether they cut Sam Hubbard, whether they make these hard decisions, that's when we're going to know if the Bengals are ready to leave their mold and become a contender. And so far, they've answered the bell. They cut Sheldon Rankins a long time before they usually cut players. They cut Alex Kappa before they had a replacement, which Charlie Goldsmith said the week before. That was the expectation for the Bengals most of the time. You don't cut guys until you have the replacement in your hand. They also cut, obviously, Sam Hubbard today in the form of a retirement to save another $9 million. They are getting the ball rolling here. So whether they're not close on negotiations yet, maybe that's because they didn't have the cap space and now they're ready to dump, all they have into getting that stuff done. I don't know, but I'm as optimistic as I've ever been with $80+ million in cap space to get these deals done, because every time we make another move like this, the excuses get less and less. And I think they're pretty close to completely out. You have to get this stuff done. They have every ability to do it.
All right, off the bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers, and we'll have more on the Bengals offseason throughout the week, of course. But, yeah, that's big news. Again, obviously the Bengals cutting Hubbard. Hubbard immediately announces his retirement after a 7-year NFL career, over 100 games played, 80 starts, all with the Cincinnati Bengals, of course. So very cool, very fun career, but good for him, again, announcing his retirement today and just allowing Bengals fans to be able to kind of obviously pay tribute towards him and the great career he had with the Cincinnati Bengals.